As mentioned, I'm a cultural anthropologist, and I work for Beta NYC, which is a civic tech organization in the city that really tries to advance the efforts of open data and tries to put them in the hands of the public. And we have spent the past several years really focusing our efforts around supporting New York City community boards. And for those of you that are not part of New York City or don't really know this context, New York City has 59 community boards, which are the most local city government agencies, right? So these 59 community boards have 50 appointed volunteers, and each of those volunteers is appointed to the board, and they are all responsible for managing a lot of quality of life issues, reviewing proposals for different licenses, like liquor licenses and sidewalk cafes, and giving advisory input on land use proposals. New York City's 59 community boards, for this particular tool, we were really focused on trying to up their capacity to review the city's open data when they're making decisions about liquor licenses. Community boards are typically underserved by a lot of these different city government agencies that offer technology and data, so we're trying to figure out ways that we can leverage open data and make it more accessible to community boards so that they can use it as they're putting together their advisory proposals to the state liquor authority. A lot of times they'll hold public hearings when liquor licenses come before the board, and this gives the opportunity for the community to say this is a really noisy bar or there's been a lot of crime, and this really kind of informs the community board about things that are going on. The problem is that typically doesn't, if they decide to vote no against a particular liquor license proposal, that typically doesn't translate into power at the level of the state liquor authority. The state liquor authority tends to respond that they're going to approve these licenses either way. And so we would like to provide them with the data to legitimize the concerns so that when they put their advisory resolutions together to the state liquor authority, they can actually reference open data numbers about the number of noise complaints that have been made over time, about different issues that have happened at this particular establishment so that they can legitimate those concerns. Right now, community boards, every time that a liquor license comes before their board, and typically some boards get hundreds every month, they have to gather a ton of information about the particular establishment. They have to gather its license history, the disciplinary actions that have been taken at that particular establishment, things like the number of noise complaints that have been made there or underage drinking complaints that have been made there, the restaurant health inspection results, the certificate of occupancy, and whether there's a sidewalk cafe there, how much space the sidewalk cafe takes up, and if there's been noise complaints particularly about the sidewalk cafe. This is incredibly time-consuming, and community boards are understaffed and typically don't have the resources to actually make all of this happen. And because all of these different, these are all open data sets on the city's open data portal, but all of these are managed by different city agencies. And so there's actually no unique identifiers that link any of these data sets together, right? So they actually have to go out and look through all of the different information in order to gather it, and there's no easy way to aggregate all of that information. The location is the most unique common field in all of these different data sets. Even the name is not particularly common because you could have a Wendy's that there's like 100 Wendy's in the city and you don't know exactly where that one is. And so even though some of these just have addresses, we're able to geocode it, and then that becomes kind of a unique identifier. But even in that case, you can have multiple establishments in the same building. So it's really quite a messy data set to aggregate everything together. So we've developed a map called SLAM, or SLA Mapper, and using just very lightweight tools like CARTO.js and Chart.js. And this just displays all the information about the liquor licenses throughout the city and colors them if they're going to be expiring soon. You see stacked chips for the number of noise complaints that have been made at particular locations. So looking at the map kind of zoomed out, you can get a really kind of vibrant view of the noise that has been produced by bars throughout the city. There's icons for sidewalk cafes where you can collect all kinds of information the DCA has about the amount of space it takes up, about the number of chairs and tables that are there, and then all of the city's restaurant health inspection results. It's quite a messy map. Because there's really no way to integrate all these different icons together, you actually have to click through on every single one of the links. But there's actually kind of a benefit to allowing the mess to kind of stay in here, because right now, anytime a noise complaint is made about a bar in the city, it's an anonymous noise complaint, right? There's no way to actually pinpoint who's making that call. And they're not necessarily referencing a specific location, a specific establishment. They're just referencing an address. So the problem is that you might have a person that's calling because they have a gripe against a particular bar owner, and they call 100 times, and you have no way of knowing who that person is, and you have no way of knowing which establishment they're referring to. So we kind of wanted to leave the mess on the surface of this map, so that folks actually have to click through to all of the different information and draw their own conclusions about what the noise problems could be, what the different health inspection results could be. So clicking on any liquor license establishment, you'll get the information about the liquor licenses and a link to the certificate of occupancy for that particular establishment. Clicking on the sidewalk cafes, you'll get all the information about the different sidewalk cafes, and then if you click on the restaurant inspection results, you can see the health scores that it's gotten over time. And we really see this as offering an opportunity to use spatial data, to use open data, to really kind of up the skills of different city government agencies so that they can more effectively participate in city governance. Thank you.